What's up everyone? We are going to be doing a rolling run today. The Unicorn Pack released a lot of rolling support in the form of the Bigfoot, the Worm of Sand and the Yeti. So I think in custom packs now it is possible to do a rolling scaling kind of run and you can enjoy that while seeing a lot of pets in the shop. And I also kind of felt in the mood to glorify all of the tier 4 scalers, because all of the runs you see on YouTube, you have like a husky scaling, you have poodle scaling, you have monkey scaling, even if it's from the banana that is on the tier 4. So I kind of wanted to focus on the tier 4 scalers a little bit and show that they can be good. That being said, the Worm of Sand is probably the worst scaler that we have on tier 4, even the Rootling is better than it. And the Worm of Sand actually requires a lot of setup in order to be useful. So here we go, we actually do find something useful for the Worm of Sand on turn 3. We get a Bigfoot, so we have a 1 free roll every single turn. We are also going to be picking up a Weasel 2, giving us 1 extra gold that we can use for rolling. And my intention is for these units to stick until the end of the run, so they can generate us a lot of gold and a lot of rolls that we can transform into tons of scaling. So for now we are just going to try to find something better in the shop. We are going to peel some spiders. Like, I was hoping for more weasels. A capybara would also be pretty nice, because that is some rolling synergy as well, but unfortunately all we get is a flea. But I think we'll be fine, we should be winning, and we even get the feint on both the Bigfoot and the weasel, so we get all of the benefits from them, and now we can start looking for more copies. I do actually pass up a capybara right there, but I think that is because it is a little bit too late for it. But thankfully we were rewarded for our decision by getting a level up on the Bigfoot that results in a sea lion. Sea lion is probably my favorite tier 4 scaler, and I think a lot of people's favorite as well. When you combine it with the hippocampus, it can become a powerhouse. And also if you're like a golden pack player, I think you have a very good time picking up a sea lion most of the time. So here we go, we are setting up for a level up next turn. On tier 5 we have the hamster potentially that can help us out with rolling a bunch of times, so that's what we'll be looking for. We also obviously have stuff like the alpaca helping us out getting multiple level ups, so that is also a big benefit. So here we go, turn 7, we get very lucky to initially find a Worm of Sand in the shop, and we also level up into a hamster. So this is like a dream come true. And I think unfortunately we will have to sell the sea lion because of how the ability of the Worm of Sand works. In case you're unaware, the Worm of Sand for every 6 rolls that you do will give +1/+1 to the 2 highest tier pets in your team, which can sometimes be a good thing, but most of the time it's actually a negative, and we'll talk a little bit about that more in the future. But for now we're hopping into a battle, and I think it's looking like a loss, but you never know. Yep, it is a loss, we lose to a sea lion, ironically enough. It's coming for revenge because we sold it. But yeah, because we get to buff the highest tier pets, it means that we cannot keep the scalers that we have for long, because they'll be absorbing debuffs. And you can see right now we are selling the cockatoo because we don't really want it to get the buff from the Worm of Sand. That being said, however, I don't think we're actually going to be getting a trigger of the buff on this turn. Maybe we could have if we sold the zebra instead, but I think poodle is a little bit better to keep if we're going to keep it for multiple turns, which you never know, we might actually have to do that. So here we go, another battle. Unfortunately it is another loss, but it's fine because we are still getting our build all set up, and I think soon we are going to be becoming pretty strong. We buy sell an oyster right here for the extra gold. On tier 6 in this pack I believe I have put some powerhouse units so they can hopefully carry us. And because the worm of sand is going to target them with every single buff, I actually think it's a pretty beneficial thing to have something like a leopard or lionfish to absorb the buffs. By the way, take a look at this. We are going to employ a neat little trick to reset the triggers of the hamster so that we get some more rolls going, and hopefully that will result in an extra trigger of the ability. We did save 1 gold by doing this, and I think that 1 gold is actually going to be crucial because it will allow us to buy sell the zebra and still get the trigger on the worm of sand. So currently the worm is buffing the weasel and the hamster every single time. Unfortunately the Bigfoot is only tier 2, so it's not going to be taking any of the buffs as we lose once again here. But I think that will be fine, especially once we pick up the tier 6 unit. We'll be very happy to buff it instead of any of the gold and roll generating units. But for now, let's exhaust the triggers of the hamster. I'm going to employ the same trick once again right here, going to reset the triggers, and then we can also use the chocolate that we have frozen in the shop to reset the triggers one more time. So you can be pretty fancy with this, but like, I had to say this, but like Poodle and Bird of Paradise and like Husky, all those scalers are just outperforming the Worm of Sand, so that's a little bit sad, but I think here we're going to take the level up as opposed to going for the another trigger of the ability. Or I guess I will actually exhaust the triggers of the hamster first, not that it really matters, we would not have found anything useful I don't think. But here we go, we have found a useful tier 6 that can carry us. We have a cobra. And as long as we don't lose this round, which it's looking kind of scary honestly when they have a turtle plus a Nurikabe, but thankfully for us their positioning was just awful and we managed to get away with a win right there. So here we go, we are going to put some equipment on our stuff, we're going to include the cobra in the team, and hopefully we're going to start starting up like crazy. Like the worm of sand is going to be triggering on the cobra and the hamster every single time, so I think it's beneficial for us to have them up at the front, at least until we find some equipment for the Bigfoot, which we actually do find right here. You do get to put a melon on it so we can push it up to the front. If I was a little bit more greedy, maybe I would have put the weasel up at the second position as well, hoping that we get both the gold and the rolls from the both units, but I don't think I'm going to want to risk it that much. Here we end up winning, with the weasel claiming us the victory right there. We're going to level up the cobra so the snipes actually start hurting a little bit. And I think at this point in time we will be getting double triggers from the worm of sand, which isn't too horrible. It's like plus 12 every single turn when you combine all the stats. Of course that is if we use all of the gold to actually roll, which we still don't have the luxury of doing because we're still putting equipment on our stuff. But here we go, another fight. This time we get to face a hippo and the map was very favorable to us, and we even get extra lucky to feign the weasel as well. So here we go, we have the max efficiency of the build, we're getting a lot of gold, we're getting a lot of free rolls, and then the hamster is going to generate us some gold during the middle of the turn. So at the end of the day we have 3 triggers of the ability, which is plus 18, which is pretty sweet honestly. And you can see the rapid scaling that we have. The hamster is already with stats in the 30s, and same goes for the cobra, or at least it will go for the cobra next turn. Here we face Saber, who I've heard is a extremely good versus player, and thankfully we get to defeat him even though he's running a little bit of a scummy summon build. So here we go, we return to the rolling part of the build, and that's kind of a little bit of a struggle of the run right here. You can see I have frozen a cobra in the shop, but unfortunately if we want to get all of the stats out of the worm of sand, we can't really afford to buy anything from the shop. You can see if we want to get all 3 triggers, we are only left with 1 gold, and that is not even good enough to buy us a single item from the shop. That is not a pill. Maybe that would have been a different story if the weasel had fainted, but we can't really afford to position for that. But here we go, we're almost at 10 wins. We get to feint the Bigfoot once again, and we are going to be winning on the next turn. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate. Another drawback of the Worm of Sand is that once you get the hamster and the cobra up to 50-50, it's not going to start targeting the Bigfoot and the weasel. So this is all of the scaling that we could get, so I'm very happy that we managed to win on this turn. But yeah, this will be the build for today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope that you like, sub, do all the generic stuff, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.